We have a problem regarding politics now. Rick Santorum has now decided to run for president, possibly. And he's trying to get the nomination from the Republicans, which thankfully I don't think he'll get. He's a little bit further right than even someone like John McCain or Mitt Romney, which is saying a lot. He's more of a Rush Limbaugh level right winger. I don't think they'll nominate him because he wouldn't appeal to the moderates within the party very well. But Rick Santorum, something we need to spread about this individual is his strange take on the Constitution. You see, he doesn't believe that the Constitution grants people privacy in regards to their private adult sexual acts consensually between adults, and believes that things like homosexual sex and gay marriage are in the same ring as incest and bestiality, which is problematic because, number one, it doesn't make any logical sense. And number two, it really smacks of the 1940s or 50s, back when people, thought that, oh, well, gays are degenerates and they're going to hurt our culture. And that's basically what he seems to believe. Now, there's a link in the description to a site which people are trying to get pumped up in the Google ratings. You can go to that site and like it with your Facebook, or at the same time, you can search for Rick Santorum on Google, and it should be one of the top results. And by clicking on it, it pushes it up on the results list. Now, I think it's number 2 right now, which is pretty good, but try to get it to surpass his Rick Santorum's unofficial site. But this is clearly a disturbed individual. Clearly, he doesn't understand the Constitution. And I'm not exactly sure what his purpose in it is. I think probably he did it primarily to get elected by appealing to the rather large minority of the population, which are wingnuts and crazies who believe still in the medieval notion that somehow homosexuals want to destroy our culture, and they tie them in with atheism and radical humanism and things like that. But it seems like a step in the wrong direction to have someone like this even become a possible candidate. It shows some bigotry within the Republican Party. Now, granted, I'm not enamored to the Democratic Party either, and if the Republicans put forward a candidate that was halfway decent, I would vote for them over Obama. So far, nobody has appeared even halfway legitimate. They've got people like Ron Paul and Sarah Palin in there raising hell. Drill baby drill, and then Ron Paul, oh, I want to dump sewage into the forests and lakes. But Rick Santorum is especially hateful. He's not even a closeted bigot. He's just a bigot. And then the Republican right wing comes out defending him, saying, oh, well, he's not a bigot, he's just stating his opinion. Well, his opinions are bigoted. That's what they are. That's like saying we can defend the Ku Klux Klan and their views because it's just their opinion. And that's what it is, but they're still bigots. Or neo-Nazis, or any group like this. Or black nationalists, or militant Jews, or anything like that. It's all bigotry, closeted in some cases with people like Santorum, who are holding a public office, and obviously they can't express all of their opinions as they wish to express them, because they know they wouldn't get elected. Now, this seems like the kind of person who would also be against things like interracial marriage and just doesn't want to say it because he knows, oh, well, I'll get in big trouble. But right now, the gay marriage debate is still going on, and what you've got is a politicization of the issue, which isn't justified. It's not a political issue so much as it is a civil rights issue. We know that the civil rights movement of the 50s was also politicized, ironically by the same party, even though, looking back in retrospect, it should have been self-explanatory, number one, what the outcome would have been, and number two, why it was wrong to politicize it in the first place, and that's exactly what he's done. So you can click the link and like it, or search Rick Santorum and find the result that talks about anal seepage, which is basically the sexual term derived from Santorum. and it would be funny to see that go back to number one. But thankfully, I don't think he'll get the nomination. I'm personally thinking the Republicans are going to put Mitt Romney in the lead, and probably tailor someone like Ron Paul to be his backup because they want to keep the Tea Party motivated. Um, or they could do the opposite and do a Paul Romney ticket. But really, it's more about the issue of, you know, it's not so much that he's likely to get elected. It's more about the principle. It's more about the principle of, this is the United States. We have a constitution for a reason. People do have the right to privacy within what they're doing consensually between two adults. And also Santorum, being against gay marriage is more mainstream a view than thinking that such things should be outlawed directly by the state. That's not so much a radical view. He's also against gays adopting, which is also fundamentally a right-wing issue. But just believing that you can warp the Constitution for your political agenda is kind of alarming. And I think it's time for everyone to do something about it and derail his candidacy as quickly as possible. Basically, people like Sarah Palin were already derailed. And one part of me almost hopes that somebody like Palin or Santorum would get the nomination because they would lose. But the other part of me wants to believe that since the two-party system is a failed system, and the liberal-conservative dichotomy is a false dichotomy propped up by the two major political parties and by the media, it would be nice if we could at least show, in the meantime, while we're waiting for a viable third-party option to crop up, or a fourth party or whatever, in the meantime, it would be nice to have candidates that can at least be halfway decent in those two parties, and that we can force out all the shysters and idiots, people like Santorum and Palin. So just do that if you can. There's plenty of new material on YouTube about the issue that you can watch. Rick Santorum rambling about why he thinks it's a disservice to the state to allow gays to adopt, etc. It's actually pretty funny. I watched a couple of the videos and I was laughing at how just blatantly bigoted and arrogant and ignorant he was. And then looking at the comments, and there's a handful of right-wingers on there saying, oh, well, he's right, and those damn gays, and, you can almost imagine them going back to the 1950s. They would have been the sort of people who would say, these damn black people always standing up for equal rights. Isn't it enough that we freed them from slavery? Segregation makes sense. That's basically what this is. It's basically, they don't want to give it the same term because of the connotations, but this is essentially segregating gays. It's creating a second-class population within the main population with less rights based on some moral outlook derived from religion, and from politicization resulting from that. So it's not really an issue of, oh, well, this dude's opinion, he has the right to his opinion. His opinion is stupid. It just doesn't make any sense, and he doesn't have any legitimate reasons to back up his opinion other than, well, that's just what I think. Well, where are you getting that morality from? Where did you derive it from? You obviously didn't come up with it yourself because it's such a political hot topic. Did you get it from your fundamentalist church? Did you get it from your political party? Wherever he got it from, his opinions are insane. So, while he probably won't get the nomination anyway, it would be funny if we can fuck with him as much as possible, because that's just hilarious. So, peace.